304 angstroms. We got no sunspots, but a lot of everything else going on. Filaments all over the place. Zoom in on this. Look at the size of this one. That's about 8 Earths in diameter. Check it out. It's not done yet. That's the end of the video. That is still there. All right. And let's look at 171 angstroms with the magnetic lines. We can see the coronal hole right here from which we are currently getting a wind stream is now on its way to setting in the west. While in the meantime, the rising coronal hole is actually even more massive, especially magnetically speaking. Look how gigantic it is. It's significantly bigger because it utterly connects to the south pole of the sun, which is currently very strong. Look at the animation from that view. You can see an active region rising here, but then dying back down. Not a sunspot, not particularly active. We do see some increase in the X-ray flux, which we're going to get to. Remember, any other data you need, head to the SDO. I mean, it's got the great visible stuff. There's that coronal hole again. You can see, not surprisingly, it's magnetically connected. You see all the squiggly lines. Wow. That is a gigantic coronal hole. And again, it's because it is connected to the South Pole. See how weak the North Pole is? See how strong the South Pole is? Going to get into some weird stuff in a minute. Haha. But in the meantime, check out spaceweathernews.com. So we've had a little bit of X-ray flux, as you can see. The BTBZ has gone through its extremely violent phase, and it's converging again, which is good for seismic activity. I mean, good for not getting any seismic activity, that is. Now, the magnetometer is all over the place, extremely spiky. You can see there are times of actual divergence in the two different satellites, such as right here, where you see one is getting a completely different reading than the other one. KP index is going to drop back down, but not quickly. It's going to take a while. This is going to be not a steep curve for this. And just after it drops down, well, in a few days, we're going to receive the wind stream from the rising gas in the ionosphere. There's no dodging it. When it gets above 10 to the 5th, that is a very high number for this. And when that electron flux sits up that high, seismic risk continues to stay up. So we just can't seem to hurt the seismic risk. We're looking at the possibility of a 7+ earthquake in all the prone zones, not to mention volcanic eruptions. If you look at the F2 layer, it's extremely charged, 12 megahertz. One of the higher readings you'll see, especially when the KP is only at, 3? KP of 3. So there's your auroras. They're dying down a little bit because so is the solar wind stream. And as you can see, the wind speed is at about 600, so it's a little over 500, so it's pretty high, but not excessive. Density is still below 10, so that's not extreme. The main issue is the electron flux and the magnetometer readings. And on a related note, let's talk about Cygnus X3 once again. Is it a coincidence that the cosmic rays from Cygnus X3 are in the past few days the highest they've been in 20 days? At the same time, we get massive magnetic resonance on the sun? Perhaps. Anyway, the link to this will be in the description. Cygnus X3 is a cosmic ray source that is monitored nearly constantly. If you're not aware with what Cygnus X3 is a massive binary system where you've got a Wolf-Rayet star and an even more massive, quote, neutron star, end quote, or some massive object radio source, with one of the jets is pointing directly at Earth. So some call it a blazar, some call it a miniature quasar, black hole. There's a lot of different terms used to describe what Cygnus X3 is, but it's an ultra-massive radio source binary. And one of the poles is aimed directly at Earth. The other one seems to be birthing a star in its solar system. Take another look at this filament here. As we close out this space weather update. End seismic warning, I might add. The About Smash session, what can we say? Started bicycle racing in 1997 as a cross-country mountain bike racer. Check out the filaments. Let's maximize this so you can see the entire scenario. There's also some big stuff going on in the southeastern area. Actually, here. In any case, have a disaster plan, and remember, may the wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your arteries.